down low. And she where the hoops all go. Lashes done, nails looking right for show. Ass looking like two globes. Here we go. What you in the club for? Always on slow. If on a low, there's a big old hoopy. You know she gets down with that big old booty. We just hit the club in this beat up hoopty. And still left with bad and bougie bitches and chooties. I'm blowing O's, ain't a better a poof. She love this hip hop, not rhythm and blues. The bigger the hoe, the bigger the hoop. She got them big ass hoops, man, and we getting loose. We couldn't lose, we getting loot. I'm still taking my pick like Duck Duck Goose. The bigger the hoop, the bigger the hoe. Oh, you didn't know. The bigger the hoop, the bigger the hoe. Oh, you didn't know. All right. What's happening, FanDuelers and DraftKings players? I'm Bols Bolton here with Roto Wild Fantasy Sports, ready for today's Jungle Live. All right, we're on a couple channels, YouTube. Also, we're on other streaming sources. We got the chat pulled up so that everyone can view each other's chats, and we are just about ready to go. Now, in here, we have the chat pulled up. So you can see we will be chatting throughout the day with everybody, and it's going to be a big one. It's going to be a big slate today. I hope everybody's ready. And here's our restream chat. Let's go ahead and welcome everybody to the Jungle Live. All right. And with that sent, we are now streaming our chat. Okay. So let's get back to our game and our slate today. All right. As I mentioned earlier, we have quite the slate coming up. Now, I think maybe the first thing we're going to take a look at are some of the best games that I see on here. So let's go ahead and get started. All right. We'll be able to check on our chat here if other people join us and have questions about what we're doing. And we are ready to go. Okay, so first thing first, pulled up the nice spreadsheet for you guys. All right, and when we're looking at our spreadsheet, you can see a lot of information already right away kind of jumps off right to us on our spreadsheet. Looking at total wise, we've got some big totals here. What is this total supposed to be? Since that looks like it's a typo. It's 221.5. Okay, so you got the 221, 219, 224, 224, 219, 196. Whoa, the big total there, right? So we got the big total in the Golden State Sacramento game, and you know, that's what I've been really looking at all day. Okay, now the game is late. We gotta sit around and wait. We gotta wait and wait and wait, and then our players come. And when our players finally come, they come at the same time as the OKC Denver game. All right, which doesn't give me confidence in waiting around for these players, like, to be honest. But you know, I think that's going to be part of the strategy today, right? We're going to have to sit around. We're going to have to wait, play some guys until these big guys come up a little bit later. Now, according to the game totals, like I said, that's the highest game total. The most confident team is going to be Boston today at 91%, likely to win the game. Plus, historical data agrees, having them winning 74% at home and 61% of the games overall. You also have Philly, who wins 55% of the games overall there, we're looking for those big numbers in this column in the blue, right? Because in the blue, that's the all-time matchup. So you got 63% and 61%. Those are the highest you're going to find. And this 63%, it's given to Portland at home, facing a Toronto team. So keep that in mind when we're looking at today's favorites, right? Because they've got Toronto favored by 3 points, Boston favored by 11.5. I have them all-time winning percentage wise about the same, right? Which is a little off. So the info seems a little bit off about that Portland team. So when we got that Portland team, you got to consider they might have a big game tonight. Now, let's take a look at some of the totals according to historical data. 657, 716, that's a big one. That's for New York and Charlotte. And you got 676, 641, 585, 610, 632, 705, and 637. So obviously these two really jump out right off the screen to us right away. You can see that 716 and next the OKC Denver game, and then sneaky games come in, right? So you got Milwaukee Cleveland. You might not expect there to be tons of scoring and tons of points in that matchup, but look, I think there is going to be tons of points in this matchup, especially from the Milwaukee side, right? So it's going to drive this total up. So when you're looking at that total, they got it at 219. Like I said, this is a sneaky game, and then this game at 224, this is also a sneaky game. So when I'm looking at the historical data between New York and Cha, you got 226, 265, 225. They're really never below 224. So I'm going to give this the over tag, right? We're going to go ahead and slap an over tag right on this game. I think this game is going over, right? And then you got Milwaukee, Cleveland. You look at some of these games, they got this at 219, 200, 241, 235. I also think this game is going over their total. Then you back it up, right? We back up to this game at 657 with this total, right? 221, 210, 218, 229. 210, 218, and 229. This is much closer. So I have a feeling that this total could be true. It could be a true total at 221, right? But most likely, it looks like that total could be also too low, right? It looks like it might go over that. So let's give it a TO. It's like a true over, like I don't know. All right, and then this one, let's see here. Washington, Brooklyn. Do we even like the points? 641, not too far off the other. You got this at 224. 224, 119. Yeah, I think this is going under too. Those teams might be on a back-to-back, right? One of those teams is on a back-to-back. I think this might get the under tag, but it's going to get the UT because it's kind of like under true. It might be right around there, but most likely it's going to go under that. And then you got Indy Philly, right? Indy Philly, look at that total, 219. They never get there. They never get to 219. So this is under, guys. This is a big under. Like it's a big under on this game. I think Philly, what it means is Indy puts the clamps down. They play good defense. Maybe the Philly guys aren't coming in. Maybe Butler's not in. Maybe Embiid gets a little bit of rest. Or Simmons doesn't go off because he's been kind of like on a little mini tear. So maybe that's what this one means, right? Is that Indy puts the locks down on these guys, and this total is going to go way under the 219. That's what I've got. And then Miami 196. I think it's going over this 196. They also have this game as the single game on FanDuel. So I think it's definitely over the 196 total. So be careful there, right? It's like they're trying to tell you there's not points, but there are points, and there are going to be a lot of fantasy points in this matchup. Even though we've got not a lot of points on the Memphis side, you can see the Miami totals. They can get there, right? They're up there at 329 along with the rest of the group. So these Miami guys are going to be okay. And then look at this. We've got Golden State sack. 233, that's close to the 236, but then under and under. So under the 236. You know, I think this will probably stay under the 236. You know, Sacramento's been balling, but I think they're on a back to back too. And Golden State, it's time to get the gears working. They're probably going to score 117, 112. I expect this game to probably be close, right? It's going to be close to the 236 total, but it's more like an under true, right? So it's more like a UT, right? It's probably going to be right there. And then you got, let's see, 203, 218. Whoa, 251, 251, two matchups in a row for these guys. I think one of those was an overtime game, but the other one wasn't. So it's like they're capable of getting there anyway. So you got 218. I'm gonna say this one's gonna be an over too. They're going over that. These this is a big fantasy matchup, right? You got Jokic, you got Russell Westbrook, Paul George. You gotta be willing to get some action out of this game in some of your lineups, along with the sack game, right? Along with the Knicks game. You got to be able to mix it up. This is a large slate, so you got to be able to cherry pick these players out of these games to hit the lineup that we're looking for. All right, now let's see. We got Toronto, Portland. Toronto, Portland is 216, 235, 184, 218, right? So one really high, one really low, one right on. That's kind of an interesting one. Toronto's been playing a couple games in a row out here on the West Coast. They played the Clippers and they played Golden State, and now they're facing Portland. So they're on quite a stretch now. They've been winning most of these games, Toronto. I think they may be the best team out of the East at the moment, right? But Portland is scary strong at home. That's what these numbers say. And I think that's true. And in these games, 130 to 105, they lost, right? Maybe it's not going to be one of those. Maybe it's not going to be a 99-85, 112, 106. Maybe these totals are just a little bit off, right? You'd have to look at some older games. One of the games where Portland won, because none of these have Portland as a winner. And we got Portland as a winner. So if Portland's going to win, I mean, they're going to get to 100 first, and they're going to score. It's probably going to look like this reversed, 112, 106 if Portland does win. Y'all feel me? And so that 218, it becomes a true total. I like it to be true. All right, so now let's see what is going on our broadcast. Anybody joined us yet on the, we got these devices? No one's joined me yet. Okay, that's okay. You know what? People are going to catch on. I'm going to keep promoting Roto Wild Fantasy Sports, and I'm Bose Bolton. A little bit about myself, right, is I wrote down a little mini script here. You know, I'm a highly experienced player on FanDuel with the highly experienced badge. I have 1,900 wins, totaling in 24,000 in prizes on FanDuel alone. I also can give advice about the point spreads and other things in traditional sports book as well, but this feed is mostly about fantasy sports, and I'm doing it for Roto Wild Fantasy Sports. All right, so now check us out here. What we're going to look at next. We're going to pull up our lineup. Clear these out. All right, let's go big game hunting. All right, as usual, I take you guys big game hunting as part of Roto Wild Fantasy Sports, where I will leave this on the website. When you are a member, you have access to do this yourself, to leave your own, to leave discussions of your own, but also to view other members and people that you like, their entries and so forth, their selection for big game hunting. So for big game hunting today, the entry that I really like the most, there's two really in the main. Okay, so in the main, I really like this entry right here. $5 single entry. Okay, so for this $5 single entry, what we're looking at here in prizes, $1,000 to first place, $750, $500. I'll take any of these prizes for my $5. Any of these top 10 prizes sound good to me for $5. And that's what we're headed towards, is one of these top 10 prizes. All right, so we're going to pay $5 to get there. We only got to beat 3,571 people. So that's why this is what I would call big game hunting for today. Okay. Some other contests that I would look at, I would definitely take a look at this contest, 60K 5-shot max. This entry, you got to beat 17,000 people, right? So I don't think you're as likely to win as you are on that other contest, but these are some big prizes: 10,000, 5,000, 2,500, right? So down to fifth place. Now we're back at the same competition that we were just talking about joining for $5, right? So for $4, you see there's only 4 possible prizes better, right? And we got to beat 17,000. So that's what big game hunting is all about, y'all. So that's what I wanted to show you guys. I wanted to show you first the game that you should join, which is the single entry $5, right? And you can join these other things, but that's the prime selection, right? That's the one you want. And then another one that you want is going to be this entry right here, $4.44. You want to see this one. This is definitely the contest that you want to be in. 20,000 in prizes, right? It's filling up. You got some. Oh, this is the single entry. Let me back this up. The entry we're in fact looking for is going to be this entry. You guys should definitely take a close look at this contest as well. This is the Express contest. 6,000 people we have to beat. It's filling up fast because it's got large prizes, all right? So like I said, if you hit the top 10, we turn our $4.50 into $100 or more. And that's the plan, to beat 6,000 people, not 17,000 people. All right, so anyway, let's get to it. Let's get to the main. As I promised Roto Wild Fantasy Sports, I'm going to do the Jungle Live, and I'm going to present you with one main that you can play today that's going to get us some cash money in one of these tournaments. All right, so I'm going to start with clearing this out. And again, we look at this. The contest is going to start, and we want to get some points right away. Now, of these teams, you got 318, 339, 359, 357. I like those totals. All right, 359 and 357 against each other. They got this as a 10-point spread. Wow. 10-point spread. 79% likely for Cha to win. I like it to go over the 224 total. Cha wins 59% of the games and 43% overall. Yet 79. So something's fishy about this total. And when you see these huge points from these Knicks, I kind of like some Knicks, guys. So let's look at some Knicks here. We're looking down here. We're looking for some Knicks that hit big points. And you got Enes Kanter. 35, 47, 30, 36. Wow. All right, and we add up some of these other stuff. 15, 11. Kanter looks pretty good. You know, you're looking at his past fantasy games, and he's definitely capable of hitting this 32.5. And all we really need is about 3,500 a player. So, I mean, 35 fantasy points a player, right? So it doesn't matter how we get them. If we're scoring 35 fantasy points, okay, and we have 8 players, that's going to get us close to the 300, but it's not going to put us exactly where we need today on today's slate. I think today we're going to need to get above 340. All right, so 340, we divide this by 8, we get about 42 fantasy points a game, where Kanter averages about under 10 from what we're looking, under 10 fantasy points, so 32 fantasy points. You know, if his minutes were stronger, you would feel really strongly about playing Kanter, but his minutes are kind of weak. So you got one center spot. Sure, he was the first Nick that popped up, but let's look at our next Nick. We got Tim Hardaway. Tim Hardaway Jr., wow. Right? So he's getting nice minutes. He occasionally goes on these bunches where he scores tremendous points, like 3 games of 30 points in a row. That's abnormal. Like that's not anything normal. Like, what are we talking about? So when you're looking at someone like Tim Hardaway, again, can he even outscore Cantor, a player on his team? I'm not sure he can, right? So it brings us down to someone like a Vonleh. Vonleh's 5,200. His points look very similar to Tim Hardaway. So why pay for the Tim Hardaway, right? You could just take Vonleh, and you'd be saving yourself money, and you'd be getting similar production. Uh, but is it enough? Can Vonleh outscore Cantor even with Cantor's limited minutes? And then you got someone like Moutier. Moutier here, wow, what a big fantasy game that was. 16, 8, and 7. Filling up the 3 columns that we're looking for there. That looks like a nice game. I wouldn't mind having that repeat on something like tonight, right? Where he gets 30 minutes and he hits, double digit points, almost a triple double here, right? So, how do we know if tonight is going to be one of these nights for Moutier? You don't really know, but you got a lot of different Knicks are out. Trey Burke's out, Damian Dotson's out, Trier's out. Knox went absolutely ridiculous last night. And was that last night? See, that's what I'm saying. So I think perhaps you got to be sure of some of these teams on the back to back. All right, so let's pull this up from yesterday. Now, 4 teams played yesterday. 4 games yesterday. So that was 2 days ago, and Knox just lit it up. It was here against the Cavaliers. Yeah, he looked amazing. So anyway, you get the point. Knox went off that day, and could Knox be set to go off again for you and score you a ton of fantasy points? The problem is his average points per game. It's not really what we're looking for either. So it leads us back to a player like, do I want Cantor or do I want Vonleh? Well, I think they're both capable of scoring similar points. To me, I think Vonleh gets a little bit more love on the minutes than Cantor does, and so he'll definitely pay his price. Will he boost his price? I doubt it, right? I doubt he's going to boost his price, and but he might. And then Cantor, he's going to have to hit a 35. He's done it multiple times where he's gone over that. So it's a good question here, Cantor or Vonleh. Other than them, I'm not sure I like anybody else in the whole game. I'm thinking maybe a Moutier, but why try a Moutier when Vonleh seems like a lot more of a sure thing? So just looking again here, you looking. I got one center. Do I want to use it on Cantor? And we're just starting this lineup. We can always come back. So let's get going and let's get one guy on here. Let's start with a Vonleh. All right. You got one player out of that game where we got the 716 total. Is actually the highest total of the whole day, which is a shock. All right. Now let's move to the second. Let's move to the second game that I got as a big over with a big total, which is OKC Denver. When you look at OKC Denver, you start here at the top. Russell Westbrook, really expensive. Paul George, really expensive. Jokic, really expensive. And you got Adams. He's 6,800. 6,800 is a nice price, and Adams is a nice player, right? So he's the kind of guy I look at and I go, I just want to immediately throw him on. And if you want to immediately throw him on at 68, don't you immediately want to throw Schroeder, the guy right underneath him, on there too. I mean, it seems like a really good idea to me to just slap these two right into your lineup, right? Now you got 3 injured players and 1 questionable player, right? My rule about GTD guys is just be so careful when you play a GTD guy, especially a guy like Murray. Look at those minutes when he plays, you know? So it's like we have to be aware. Is he getting greenlit to play? And what is the status? You know, he's been dealing with a shin injury, limiting his practice involvement. Should be okay. You know, it's like I don't know, Roto Wire. That sounds a little crazy. But do we even like his price? Right? 35, 36, 37, 37 points for Murray. You know, he's going to get you a 40 and you're going to pay for a 37. So yeah, his price is a little high for me, right? So then we're going to go Jeremy Grant. Jeremy Grant fits in our stack that seems to be emerging, our OKC emerging stack. Now look at Grant. You know, with Grant, if I play him, I want 26 points. All right, is he going to give me 26, 27 points? Bad, 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 bad. Pretty good, bad, bad, pretty good. I don't know. I don't think he's going to really do it, especially on a 9-game slate. We already have 2 players from the same team in the same game here. I'm not sure that that's a wise move. So let's move forward to someone like Mason Plumlee. Now we only have 1 center. And we're thinking, is our center going to be Steven Adams or is it going to be Mason Plumlee? Well, minutes-wise, Plumlee got this minutes explosion here. But other than that, does he even hit a 30? Or Steven Adams consistently in the 30s. So I'm sure we're going Steven Adams. Now Monte Morris, 5,300. 5,300 for Monte Morris. These minutes look great. These points, they look pretty darn good themselves. And I like these fantasy points that I'm seeing out of Monte Morris, right? He looks like the kind of guy I pay, like I said, for about 27, and he gives me 37, and I get excited about it. Well, is that exciting? I'm not sure it is, right? So instead, this guy, Juan Gomez, you can say his whole name, Juancho Hernan Gomez. I just call him Juan Gomez, right? So Juan Gomez, his minutes are superb. And when you watch him on the court, he definitely passes the eye test. He's like a tough, kind of gritty guy. He's always in the right place at the right time. 5,700. Let's say I was shooting for what, a 30? No, a little bit less than a 30, maybe a 28, and he gets me a 38. It's very similar to Monte Morris, right? And Monte Morris, we save $400. So then compare their fantasy points per game, 20 fantasy points per game, but how does he do it? How does he get these fantasy points? He's got 9, 14, 15, 16. Okay, and then Monte Morris is going 9, 11, 15, 16. You know, to me, they seem like literally you could flip a coin here, but you may want to take both of them because we're trying to look for players out of this game, right? And then there's Trey Lyles as well. And he's doing 10, 15, 16, 17, right? And he's right around the same price Monte Morris. Minutes is okay, right? Fantasy points, okay. But if you pay for the 27 and he gets you the 15, you're going to feel like, man, that was a real waste on Trey Lyles. And I think something similar could happen with Juan Gomez and Monte Morris, but I'm not sure that will happen. You know, you're looking at the total once again. Look at these big points, right? So we need some guys here. Is it going to be Morris, Juan Gomez? After that, you know, you're looking at the Malik Beasleys of the world. and they're okay, but they're not for me at the moment, right? They're just not for me. You got Nick Young playing with Denver. I'm sure Swaggy's fans are excited, but no, I'm an Iggy fan. Anyway, we're gonna keep going on here. This guy Swaggy P, I don't know what is going on with him, but let's see here. You got Jeremy Grant. We looked at Jeremy Grant, 52, right, 23.7. How does he get the points? How does he get the 23.7? He's got 11 and a half. What is that? 15, maybe 16, 17, 18, 19, maybe a 19. So I mean, I like all these guys. I like them all. I like them all. Do you plug them all right in and pray? I mean, I don't think that's wise. We gotta be a little more strategic on how we select these guys. Maybe we keep this in mind after we keep building, and then we don't have a spot filled, and we're gonna slide one of these guys that we've been looking at from the Nuggets or OKC right in there. But for now, let's keep moving on, right? So we got 705. After 705 comes 676 here with Milwaukee, Cleveland. You got big points on both sides of the ball. Cleveland, are they really going to be able to keep up with a Milwaukee team? I doubt it. 65% says no. They lose most of the games at home, and I mean, most of the games overall, and barely win better at home, but they're 10 points underdogs tonight. I got the total over the 219. I do like this game for fantasy purposes. Okay, so when we switch over to this game, you got Antetokounmpo up here on a mountain that we don't pay to get to. Also, we got Bledsoe 7,700. 7,700. There was a player very similar back here. He was game time decision Jamal Murray 7,800. So when you're looking at these two guys, one, two, three, four, 340s in the last four. One, two, three. But then, whoa, right? So I'm looking at both these guys. I really am targeting Bledsoe a little bit, and I'm targeting a little bit of Jamal Murray. Now, the thing about it is, how do they get their points? 16, 20, 25, 26, maybe a 27 in a raw score, where you come back over to Jamal Murray and he averages more fantasy points. He goes 17, 21, 25, 26. All right, so he falls slightly under 7,800, 31 fantasy points per game, or 7,700, 33 fantasy point, 33.8 fantasy points per game. So, plus you don't got to deal with the game time decision factor. You know, it's really a no-brainer to go Bledsoe here. But if we run a Fantasy Pros starter sit, if we run one of these and we ask Jamal Murray or Eric Bledsoe, look at that. Points aren't far off each other. It's interesting that their week rating is so far off each other. Let's see what Number Fire is saying about these two. Eric Bledsoe, Jamal Murray. You see that? All right, so we're all looking at this, right? See, I think both these guys are due for large evenings, right? It just depends what your goal is, what you want to do, and how much faith you have in this game time decision on Murray, right? For now, I'm going to keep building, all right? So what we're going to do is come back to our spreadsheet. We got one player off of this total. Now, let's look at the next player down the line from Bledsoe. It's a Middleton. 31 points a game. So we pay 67. We need at least 33 points or more. And he delivers a 23, a 25. It's not going to work. It's just not going to work for Middleton. I don't think so. You know, and I'm not sure it's going to work. It might work, but it might not. And then you got Brogdon. I remember Brogdon had a down game, but he had been pretty hot. He'd been really hot, especially for what? What are you paying for that? 25, 26, 27 points, 27. I guess you're getting what you pay for on most nights with Brogdon, you know? And then it makes you take another look at Bledsoe and Murray and you say, wow, if I'm paying 77, I need something like almost a 40, like a 38. And what Bledsoe's going to get us exactly that. So I'm not sure any of these guys are where we're leaning towards yet. And then comes Larry Nance, and his price is just absurd at 7,000. Needs a 35. Done it the last 3 games. Is it Larry Nance? You know, they don't got any Tristan Thompson. They don't got a lot going on that team. Someone's going to have to get us some points. So if we go Bledsoe, do we also go Nance? Like this, I'm going to take 2 players out of this thing and move forward. 676 moves us to 657. 657. I like it. I like this total. But 221, 236. All right, let's just stay true. Let's keep going. And we'll switch over to Atlanta, Boston. Love John Collins. So John Collins, you gotta pay a tax. 1,100 to go from a player like Larry Nance to a player like John Collins. Yes, please. I would say, please tax it to me. I don't mind the tax. I really don't. You know, Atlanta hits one of these numbers, that means Collins. Who knows what kind of freaking game Collins is gonna put up. I would plug him instead of Nance. You know, when it comes to Nance or Collins, let's start this thing over on number fire. Let's see what they say first. I don't think this is gonna be close. Sorry about that. The drop downs got a little silly there. Nance. John Collins, right? Not Zach Collins. John Collins. John Collins, 34. Larry Nance, 29. Seeing that Collins price reminds you a little bit of Jamal Murray and Bledsoe. So now those are 3 players there. John Collins, Bledsoe, and Jamal Murray. They're all 300 of each other. I like all 3 of them. You know, the cheapest of the group there is Larry Nance. I think there's risk there on Larry Nance. I've seen him have dull games. I've seen him explode. We've seen him explode as a Laker, as a Cavalier, but we've also seen him disappear like some Houdini, some crazy Houdini, right? And one rule with a Houdini guy is never play him the night after he scored 43 fantasy points. I mean, he just feels like he's gonna Houdini on me. Or he's gonna go so hard. Who knows though? Maybe he won't. What happened last time they played Milwaukee? Because Milwaukee's got all this hype, and last time they played Milwaukee, he had 32. He had 16 points, only 6 rebounds. It's like, how does he score? He scores mostly on rebounds. Scary. I'm just telling you, he's not going to go on my lineup instead of John Collins. I will pay for John Collins. John Collins, he's crazy. He's an all-star. It's a joke. It's a joke. All right. So anyway, you're looking at this Atlanta Boston game. Only one player averages more points than John Collins, who I think is just absurd and crazy, and it's Kyrie. And Kyrie had this 51 last game, 38 points. Kyrie relies heavily on scoring. If he only averages 22 and he had 38 last game, maybe this game is not Kyrie's biggest game. All right. And so back off of someone like Kyrie, you look at someone like Tatum, but we're filled both those spots. So now we're down to Trae Young. Trae Young, 1,100 off of Bledsoe. Big game last game. 43 fantasy points. Gets all the minutes. Jeremy Lin still out, right? Oh, Jeremy Lin in. Jeremy Lin is in. Here comes the Dragon, Jeremy Lin. Back available to play Linsanity. Friday against the Celtics. Does that mean anything? Nah. Lin's pretty good. One thing I like about Lin is we pay for Lin. You're looking at 23 points, something like that. And then he goes off for a 33. He goes off for a 43. It's just, I don't know. I don't know if you want anything to do with Lin or Trae Young now that Lin is back. So Bazemore's priced similarly and has similar points to Trae Young. Over the last 3, Bazemore has been very good. 22 fantasy points, followed up by 7 points. 22, 7, 22, 7 or 8 maybe? But then does that mean he focuses on these other things? Not really. Against the Boston team, you're not going to get tons of, you might get tons of these. I don't like Bazemore. So, not a lot to like out of here yet. 6,100 for a Gordon Hayward. Anybody down for that? Let's check our chat here. See anybody want any piece of Gordon Hayward? No, no one's with us. Okay. Let's go back. Gordon Hayward. Gordon Hayward. Coming off of illness. Playing this Milwaukee team. Last time he played Milwaukee, he had 18 points. See, Gordon Hayward might be a good one, right? You're going to pay, you need a 30, get you a 30. It's not good enough. No, not good enough for us. Not good enough there, not good enough. No. Brings you to Bembry. Bembry, interesting looking dude. He got 6 points last game. What happened? I mean, what happened? Doesn't make sense, but whatever. 40, 31. You're looking for 25 out of Bembry. He gives you 35. You're stoked. I'm not sure he's going to make it on my list either. Jaylen Brown. Yeah. Everyone loves them some Jaylen Brown, right? Illness. But he's back, right? It's saying Brown will play Friday against the Hawks. Okay. And if he plays, he's getting 24 to 28 minutes, and his points are going to look similar, rebounds similar against Atlanta, the worst ever. Or I don't know about the worst ever, but they're not good at defense. So let me just be more specific, I guess. In this current season, they're not good at defense in this season. Anyway, Atlanta. Hmm, not really what I'm looking for here. Shocking though, because I only got one player out of it, and it's John Collins, who I'm paying up for against a tough D. So not great results for me coming out of that Atlanta Boston. Hmm. Maybe we stopped too early. Got Scary Terry down here. He scores 21, gets you 35. Hmm. You paid for 21. Ain't bad. Ain't bad, Scary Terry. I do feel like we need some Boston. We need something. You're gonna need something from Boston because it's a lot of points, and Atlanta can't defend. Atlanta just does not defend at all. We're looking at 114, 119, you know, in which case they have lots of assists. Who? Kyrie. We get extra run for the bigs. Kneecap. Marcus Morris. He's been pretty hot. He's been really hot. Really, really hot. So let's take a look here and see. Do we want someone like a Marcus Morris, 35? If he scores you that, I like his minutes. I like Marcus Morris's minutes. He's already filled in one of our spots here, so we can't really take him there. I guess we could take him instead of a John Collins. He's on the right team, right? John Collins is on the wrong team. This is going to be a blowout win for Boston, and yeah, it's looking like maybe we got the wrong player from the wrong team here. Maybe this needs to be a Morris brother. And Marcus, 1,300 off of Vonleh. But is he going to score us the same as Vonleh? Of course, my computer's getting crazy here, guys. Let's just add him. Stupid. He definitely can outscore Vonleh. He could score the same as Vonleh too. Or John Collins. John Collins gonna outscore both of them. So then you're looking at Vonleh. I like that so far. I like where we're going with that. We still don't have the Boston. I'm not so sure there. I think maybe we move forward and we go from 657, 641. Now we're in Washington and Brooklyn. And we're looking at fantasy points per game. 94, 42, 85, and 38. That's pretty close. And then 33 and 70, 35. That's pretty close too. Looking, who we looking for here? Maybe a Brooklyn player, maybe a Washington player. Hmm. Again, we don't want anyone that's game time decision. That's not something that we're looking to do. So Porter Jr. would be a great fit here in our spot, but at a $200 difference, perhaps it's D'Angelo Russell that's actually the great fit. And when we look at D'Angelo Russell, we're looking for 35 points, and he gives us a 45, 55, a 65, something like that. It's crazy, right? He scores in bunches, and if we get one of these games, not one of these, right? What happened here against Washington? One of these, dude. That's what I'm talking about. So I think maybe he bounces back against Washington, who he struggled with last time. One of these totals 115, 113, and it's D Russ, right? D Russ comes in with a big game for us, right? So when you're looking at D Russ, he's 7,000 off of Eric Bledsoe. 33 fantasy points. So we're like getting a $700 discount from the guys that we were just drooling over. And he looks great there. I really think he's a great fit there, right? Now, will he outscore Brad Beal? Most likely no, right? But Brad Beal's 1,500 more than him, which seems absurd. I like what we got. I think we stick with those guys. What happens if we run Brad Beal, a little Brad Beal and D Russ? D'Angelo and Brad Beal. Hmm. So we're looking at some different stuff here now. You know, I I do like where we're going with this. You got John Collins or maybe a Larry Nance. You got Brad Beal or maybe a D Russ here. Personally, I think I'm going Collins D Russ instead of Nance Beal. But I will be writing myself a note here. We got Nance and Beal, D Russ, and Collins. Now, let's check here. Nope, no one's joined me. All right, let me keep on going. We're gonna keep pushing along at least till we finish this lineup for you guys. The next one here was gonna be Sac and Golden State. Now, 117. They got Sac. They got Golden State as big favorites. Maybe they shouldn't be as favored as they are, but they're big favorites, and they're most likely going to score a lot of fantasy points. I do like some to at least get one player out of here. So let's move over to it, especially since they have a huge total here, a huge total. So maybe we need more than one guy out of here. Now, 6,800, 33 fantasy points. We keep seeing that number. All right, D Russ. We were just drooling, thinking how we were getting a discount for D Russ, and here's Klay Thompson. at the same number, right? And now you got someone like Schroeder. How does Schroeder get to his points? Schroeder's got 17, 21, 25, 26, 26, and he gets it mostly scoring. Going up against a tough defense to score on in Denver. Maybe we should be reconsidering someone like Schroeder, considering we were just drooling over this other player. And when we look at Schroeder, 30.7 fantasy game points. I think you can go either or here. You can really go either one. But like I was saying, we were just drooling over over D Russ saying how we were getting him at a discount. Now we're not going to take a favorited Golden State Klay Thompson? That seems ludicrous. We're definitely taking Klay Thompson here at this spot. Okay? And then aside from Klay, you have these other two guys. They're both monsters, right? So in reality, if you take Klay off, you could put Bogdanovich or Hield and save some cash. I do like Bogdanovich a lot. I like him a lot. I feel like he's very consistent. They're going to need big minutes from him tonight. I feel fine putting him there. And then I could save 200. Downgrading, I guess they would call that, from D'Angelo Russell to Klay Thompson. Let's see what they think about this. I think I'm going to have to switch to a different, who do I start? This one is just too choppy for me. D'Angelo Russell and Klay. So there they are. Take a look. And very similarly, the points are very similar. Yet one we're like totally drooling over, and the other one not so much. So it's a good question here at shooting guard. How do we save a few bucks but still get the player that we want? There you have it there. Let's see, what about Bogdanovich? Interesting stuff, huh, guys? So part of me likes this. On one. And then on the other one, we go D Russ. and Clay. Okay. For now, we're going to do this. But this is a 9-game slate. You should never take the same player at the same position. Okay? These two might hurt each other's fantasy production if one of them gets hot. In which case, being on 2 different games and having the opportunity to explode might be what we're looking for here. Okay? Now, we're back on this game. Still want more action out of this game. Not only at shooting guard, we need some more players out of here. So there's Willie Cauley-Stein, 200 off of Adams. Love him there. Draymond Green, not so much. Healed, Bogdanovich, we just discussed. I love them. Bagley, 6,300 for Bagley. Bagley is cool. I don't know. I don't know if he's a player that's going to be starting for me, though. He averages the same as this guy below him, whose price is, nearly half of his price. And he's in the game that we like. And Bielitsa had a huge game last game. He really just looks great sometimes. Like an all-star. Like he got 12, 17, 19 in a row, scoring a 40. How did he do that? Points. It's mostly on points. Now, Curry and these guys are going to be shooting the rock. They're going to be watching it go in a lot. I have a feeling that maybe it's Bielitsa, Bogdanovich. One of these guys is going to have to shoot back at Curry. He's going to. Maybe it's Bielitsa, but I'm not sure. We got Jerebko. There's not really a lot of options for us to play out of this game. Okay? We're kind of locked into some of these guys that we like. And none of these guys are really fitting. So let's take us back to the top where you have De'Aaron Fox. I don't even really got to look at anything to know I want De'Aaron Fox. I want him. He's on my lineup. It's just like that. He's 100 less than Eric Bledsoe. To me, he represents these players. Collins, Fox, Jamal Murray. These are the players that we want. We want all those guys. If you could have them all, you take them all. Because you're paying for 35, they're going to give you 55, they're going to give you 45, something like that. I'm all about it. And I'm all about Fox. I really think Fox is in for a big night. I think some of those other guards are in for a big night. But we can't fill up our whole slate of a 9-gamer with only players from this game. Right now, we've got more exposure than any other game, and we've got some cash involved on these players. So I like what we have. Right? You could go Bielitsa here if you want, but I want to move on to the next game, which is going to be this game here, Toronto-Portland. Right? Should have been one game prior, and then finishing up with this one and this one. But we're going to go there next. Toronto and Portland, and we need a small forward. That's the only position we haven't filled. You've got Turner, Mo Harkless, OG, Jake Layman. The game after this one, Miami, Memphis. Here is where we're going to get our small forwards. Richardson, paying for 32, he gets you less than that. I'm not sure that Richardson is your guy. Next, you got Kyle Anderson. You're paying for 22, and he gets you some big number, 56. Well, I feel like he's a good one. Look at his minutes. And This is the single gamer. We need some players here. I like him. I like him, and I like Bielitsa, and I like Derek Jones. So again, how are they getting these points? He got 27 fantasy points. He spreads it out, a lot of rebounds. It's going to be a big rebounding night. I could see him going for a lot. 5. What is that? 8. His numbers aren't really showing what he's doing right now. All right. Versus Kyle Anderson. I definitely see some upside to Jones Jr. All right. I like him. I like him there. Now we're left with the 6,200. We can go to all. Looking at all players, you got one player. He's on the team that we wanted exposure to, that we didn't get exposure to. It is Gordon Hayward. We got Thaddeus and Gordon Hayward and Buddy Hield and Schroeder. Look at these guys. I like all of these. All of these guys, I love them all. So write them down. Thaddeus, Gordon Hayward, Hield, and Schroeder. Bam. Bogdanovich. Forgot all about Jeremy Lamb, didn't we? Had that game winner last game. His points aren't good enough. I like Siakam's points, but not as much as I like Marcus Morris's points, I'm sure. Look at that. Is he due for a big night tonight? We'll see. So one player that I know is just on a tear is Thaddeus. So let's just put Thaddeus in on this spot. And you got Bam, who I also like in that spot. So you can go Thaddeus or Bam here. I'm going to go Thaddeus. Now I'm at 5,200. You got Bembry, Bielitsa, Osman. 200 away from the guy that I liked, which was Kyle Anderson. I did like Kyle Anderson, but I also said that I liked Bielitsa. Bielitsa has a lot of upside here. And this is our lineup. One player I'm not sure about is Fox or Clay or Hield. There's some money to move around here. CJ McCollum. He's a nice player. He's a nice fantasy option. He usually does really well. You know, it's tons of minutes, tons of points. He's a good option too. and he's in our cheap discount area, 7,100. And Nance too. Cauley Stein. Better write all these guys down in a separate group. It goes McCollum, Nance, Cantor, D. Russ, Adams, Clay, Ibaka. Ibaka's been on an absolute insane run. Just madness run. You know, is he going to be able to keep that up? I'm not sure, but madness. Last couple games, madness for Ibaka, and he's 600 more than Thaddeus. He's in a better game, possibly a better spot. It's a tough one to determine. And you got John Collins there too. And I remember I told you John Collins is in a tough spot. I'm starting to look at players like Ibaka a little differently. Like, holy crap, I need Ibaka, don't I? Right? He's right there in the good range. This could be Ibaka. Let's see what happens. If we put Ibaka here, Damian Lillard pops up for us. You're 100 off of McCollum. It's very interesting. Getting pretty close to Steph Curry. Curry looked really off last game. He's not gonna look like that this game. He's gonna be hot. He's gonna score tons of points. I like Lillard to score a lot of points here too. So you're in a tough spot now, guys. Time to really sort out who it is you want and who you absolutely gotta have, you know, because it's tough to do that sometimes. And you're looking at Klay Thompson. You guys like D'Angelo Russell? What about if I edit this and I took McCollum? Well, I think I've gotten you guys pretty close. So for now, since we weren't sure about Bielitsa, and Bielitsa's the 49, for now let's go Evan Turner here and Curry. I'm not so sure about that. Remember, I had Portland winning at home in a big win. And this 52 gets me awfully close. 52, where I either have to take him, Bielitsa, or Kyle Anderson. Kyle Anderson looks like a much better option there. So yeah, you see, I'm a little torn myself. Now I'm torn between Kyrie Irving, Damian Lillard. I really like Kyrie Irving here, though. The more that I think about it, it's like, whoa, it snaps in. Click. Should we go with this? All right, let's make it final. Do we like Kyrie Irving? I do like Kyrie Irving. He's an elite scorer against a team that doesn't play any defense. He should have his way tonight, but so should Lillard. So this is tough. This is really tough here, guys. Because I want you guys to win, I'm going to do this. I'm confident that some cash is coming your way with this lineup. Go ahead and run this out, and this is what we're going to play. All right? So I wish everybody good luck and have a great fantasy day today. It's going to be a big one. Bolts Bolton. Go out there, guys. Win a bunch of cash. Let me know about it. Come on to Roto Wild and become a member. And we'll check you guys out on the next one. All right, have a good one, guys.